Switzerland is famous for chocolate and watchmaking, but it is also one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Swiss citizens enjoy a high standard of living and a long life expectancy. It is little wonder that immigrants make up nearly a quarter of the population. Though it is a small country, it plays a pivotal role in European commerce. Switzerland is not a member of the 28-country European Union, although they maintain strong economic and political ties. Switzerland is a member of the European Free Trade Agreement and the Schengen Agreement, which allows for free movement of people and goods across Europe. Switzerland enjoys a low unemployment rate of about 3.5%.
What we are seeing is a massive exodus from other parts of Europe into Switzerland as immigrants leave their countries as a result of persecution and poor living conditions. Out of 7.7 million people living currently in Switzerland, 1.7 million of them, or 22% of the population, consists of foreigners. 80,000 foreigners entered Switzerland last year alone, drawn by higher salaries and better standards of living. But now Switzerland is looking to severely curb the number of immigrants allowed into the country. As of 2006, we are even seeing a trend of repatriation for those already in the country if they cannot provide the proper documents. The argument is that foreigners are taking jobs away from Swiss citizens, though others argue that the new limitations on immigration will actually place financial strain on the country as ties with the EU are broken and fewer workers are available to expand the economy.
On February 9, 2014, Switzerland voted on a bill that proposed reintroducing quotas on the number of immigrants. The referendum was introduced and fought for by the far-right Swiss People's Party.
I voted yes to limit immigration because I want to protect the Swiss identity and my own security. I don't want to feel like a minority in my own country. Switzerland offers opportunity and immigrants are coming here to take advantage of our welfare system. We are overwhelmed by foreigners who come here not to work, but to be criminals.
Switzerland has always welcomed people from other countries. We promote peace and help those seeking asylum. Limiting immigration is bad for business. I voted no because limits are against Swiss nature and bad for the economy. We should be pushing for stronger ties with Europe.
The February 2014 vote passed by a very narrow margin of 50.3%. The majority of the support came from rural areas and smaller cities. The larger cities, such as Zurich and Basel, rejected the vote.
It's important to prove to the banking industry and the business world that there's a growing concern for Swiss identity. Leaders of other parties in the Swiss government argue that limiting immigration will endanger prosperity, but citizens are worried about employment and welfare benefits. There's also a major concern over criminal activities. You see, 70% of the prison population in Switzerland are actually foreigners. And so the policy that we represent is not racist, it's not xenophobic. It actually protects the jobs for citizens in Switzerland and the rich Swiss identity.
The new referendum will limit immigration with annual quotas. It also includes that Swiss applicants receive preference for open jobs. The quotas will affect countries within the European Union as well. The Swiss now face reactions from leaders of the EU.
Leaders of the EU see the future limitations as a violation of the Schengen Agreement for free movement within Europe. The European Commission warned that there would be serious consequences if the referendum passed. However, Europeans are seeing a shift toward more support for limiting immigration across the continent. Movements within Britain, France, Netherlands, Hungary, and Greece have experienced more Euroscepticism and a push toward protecting domestic jobs.
Although the Swiss people rejected membership to the European Union by 50.3% in 1992, they enjoy close ties to the EU. As members of the European Free Trade Agreement, they still benefit from trading within a common market. They also joined the Schengen Agreement in 2008, which allows for free movement within Europe. Switzerland is highly integrated into European affairs. However, the February 2014 referendum threatens the thriving Swiss banking industry and forces the EU to reevaluate its relationship with Switzerland.
In light of the referendum to limit immigration to Switzerland, the European Commission has decided to suspend Swiss participation in the Erasmus Scholarship Program. This innovative program allows students to spend time at a foreign university to further their studies. The European Union has also decided to exclude Swiss students from being considered for competitive Horizon 2020 research grants. Hopefully, these modest sanctions will show Switzerland that the European Commission will not tolerate limiting movement across Europe.
This sort of challenge to immigration and diversity is nothing new for Switzerland. In 2009, the Swiss people voted to ban the construction of minarets on mosques. There were only 4 minarets in Switzerland at the time of the vote, with plans to construct 2 more. The tall spires are often features of Muslim mosques in other parts of the world. Minarets are used for call to prayer and to direct Muslims to mosque locations. The Swiss government came out against the referendum, but it passed by 57.5%.
I don't see what there is getting upset about over the ban on minarets. Over 150 mosques in Switzerland and only 4 have one, so why are Muslims getting so upset over a ban on something that they weren't even building? And we're not saying that Muslims can't be Muslims anymore. I mean, nobody is stopping them from going to worship. I think the ban is good. It makes a clear statement that Switzerland will not stand for the Islamization that is creeping into our society. We will not stand and just watch our country's culture be replaced by foreign traditions.
I don't agree with the new ban on the building of minarets on mosques in Switzerland. The Islamic people are already feeling persecuted in this country. Just last week, I was stopped on the street by police and I was submitted to a full-body search. When I asked them why, in perfect Swiss German, mind you, they were surprised. Like they didn't expect me to know the language because I don't look Swiss. I grew up here. I'm a Swiss citizen. I want to worship without having how I can or cannot worship regulated and dictated by the government. That goes against the Constitution.
Switzerland is hurting itself, both politically and financially, by reducing the number of immigrants allowed into the country per year. Recent immigration reform risks jeopardizing ties with the European Union. The growing economy is expected to suffer from the lack of an increasing workforce that comes from immigration. With the country nearly equally divided on the issue, it is impossible to predict with certainty what Swiss immigration policy will be in the next decade.
When I asked them why, in perfect Swiss German, they were surprised. Like they didn't expect me of all people, to know the language because I guess I don't look Swiss.